The blindfold lifted, and through my tears I saw him, all sharp angles and cold control. And the first thing he said wasn't a question, but a command that made my breath catch. "Stop crying and tell me who sent you." I couldn't stop. My whole body was shaking, wrists raw from the zip ties, knees aching from however long I'd been kneeling on cold stone. But I tried. I sucked in air, tasted salt and snot and fear, and forced words out. "No one sent me. I don't even know where I am." He studied me like I was a problem to solve. Dark hair, darker eyes, a jaw that could have been sculpted from marble. He wore a black shirt with the sleeves rolled to his forearms, and even crouched in front of me on his own doorstep. He radiated the kind of power that didn't need to be loud. Behind him, 2 men in suits stood silent, watching. "Your name," he said. "Leora. Leora Dane." My voice cracked. "Please, I just want to go home." Something flickered across his face, not sympathy, confusion maybe, or calculation. "Turn around," I flinched, but he was already moving, fingers surprisingly steady as he cut the zip ties. Blood rushed back into my hands. I gasped at the pins and needles burn. "Inside," he said. One of the suited men stepped forward. "Boss, inside." The word was granite, final. I didn't have a choice. My legs barely worked, but I stumbled through the door into a penthouse that looked like it cost more than my entire graduate program. Floor-to-ceiling windows, leather furniture, everything black, white, or gray, cold, beautiful, dangerous. He gestured to a chair. I sat. He didn't. He stood in front of me, arms crossed, and the silence stretched until I thought I'd scream just to fill it. "You said your name is Leora Dane." "Yes." "And you don't know why you're here?" "No. I was walking home and someone grabbed me, put a bag over my head, threw me in a van." The tears were back, hot and humiliating. "I don't know what you want from me. I don't have money. I'm just a grad student. Where do you go to school?" "Columbia. Child psychology." His jaw tightened. "Where do you live?" "Off campus. I share an apartment near—" I stopped. Giving him my address felt like handing over a weapon. "Near where?" I swallowed. 116th Street. "Who's your roommate?" The question hit like ice water. "Why does that matter?" "Answer me." "Sarah," I whispered. "Serafina Viscari." The room went still, deadly still. He didn't move, but something changed in his posture, in the air itself. "Say that again." "Sarah. She's my roommate. We met freshman year. She's chaotic and loud, and she bakes terrible cookies. And I don't understand what this has to do with—" "Sarah's fine." His voice was different now, softer, almost gentle. "She's safe. She was never touched." Relief punched through me so hard I nearly sobbed again. "Thank God. Oh my God, is she okay? Where is she?" "She's at my mother's estate in Connecticut. She left yesterday." I blinked. "Your mother's— wait, you're— her brother?" Oh no. Sarah had mentioned her brother maybe twice, always with a mix of exasperation and affection. "He's overprotective," she'd said once. "Paranoid, honestly. But he means well." This man did not look like he meant well. This man looked like he could end someone without blinking. "They thought you were her," he said quietly. The words didn't make sense. Then they did. Then I wished they didn't. "The coat," I breathed. "I borrowed her coat. It's warmer than mine, and she said I could use it while she was gone, and—" My voice broke. "They took me because they thought I was Sarah." He nodded once. "Who's they?" "People who wanted to send me a message." His gaze was steady, unflinching. "People who are going to regret it." I should have been terrified. I was terrified. But under the fear was something sharper. Anger. "You're telling me I was kidnapped, tied up, and dumped on your doorstep like garbage because someone has a problem with you?" "Yes." "And what happens to me now?" He tilted his head slightly, like the question surprised him. "What do you think should happen?" "I think I should go home, file a police report, get on with my life." "And tell them what exactly?" His voice was calm, too calm. "That you were mistaken for a crime boss's sister and released unharmed?" The word crime hung in the air like smoke. "You can't file a report," he continued. "The people who took you think I killed you or paid them off. If you surface now, they'll know I let you go." That makes you a loose end. A liability. My chest tightened. So what are you saying? I'm saying you're safer here than anywhere else right now. Here? With you? With me, I laughed. It came out bitter and half strangled. You want me to stay in your house? You, a man I just met. A man whose world just got me kidnapped. I want you alive, he said simply. And I want my sister safe. Those men grabbed you because you were in the wrong place at the wrong time. But now they know they made a mistake, which means they'll be looking for the real target again. Sarah. Yes. But she's in Connecticut. For now, she'll be back in the city by next week. Classes start again soon. I pressed my palms to my eyes. This was insane. All of it. 24 hours ago, I'd been studying for my practicum, planning to help kids process trauma, living a normal, boring, safe life. Now I was sitting in a penthouse with a man who probably had more blood on his hands than I wanted to imagine. I have a life, I said. A practicum starting in 2 weeks. Patients depending on me. A family who will lose their minds if I don't call them back soon. You can call your family. You can study. You can do whatever you need to do. He leaned forward slightly, and I caught the faint scent of cedar and something darker. But you'll do it here, under protection, until I know who ordered this and how deep the threat goes. And if I say no? His expression didn't change. Then you walk out that door, and I can't guarantee what happens next. Maybe nothing. Maybe they decide you're not worth the trouble. He paused. Maybe they decide you know too much. I don't know anything. You know my sister's routine, her address, her face. That's enough. I wanted to scream, cry, throw something. Instead, I sat there, shaking, trying to think like the rational, educated woman I was supposed to be. How long? I asked. A week, maybe 2. And then? Then I'll have answers, and you'll have options. It wasn't a promise, it was a transaction. I looked at him, really looked at him. At the controlled fury in his eyes, the tension in his shoulders, the way he held himself like violence was a language he spoke fluently. I should have run. I should have demanded he call the police, a lawyer, anyone. But Sarah's face flashed in my mind. Her laugh. The way she dragged me to karaoke last month and sung off-key until we both cried with laughter. If staying here kept her safer, even a little. I need guarantees, I said. His eyebrow lifted, just barely. My family doesn't get touched. Ever. They don't even know your name. Agreed. I get my phone. I get to contact my practicum supervisor, my professors. I don't disappear. Supervised contact. Monitored messages. I bristled. I'm not a prisoner. You're a protected asset. There's a difference. Sounds like the same thing to me. It's not. He straightened, and I had to tilt my head back to keep eye contact. A prisoner has no say. You do. You can leave any time, but if you stay, you follow my rules. And if I don't like your rules? For the first time, something almost like amusement crossed his face. Then we negotiate. I stood. My legs were still shaky, but I forced them steady. I met his gaze and didn't look away. 1 week, I said. You find who did this. You make sure Sarah's safe, and then I go back to my life. Deal? He extended his hand. I stared at it. This was the moment, the choice. I could still say no, walk away, take my chances. But deep down, I knew the truth. The second those men had thrown me in that van, my old life had ended. The question now was what kind of new one I'd build. I took his hand. Whatever this was, it wasn't safety. It was choosing one kind of danger over another. His grip was firm, warm. The contact sent an unwanted jolt up my arm. Deal, he said. And just like that, I stepped into the dark. The guest room he showed me to was bigger than my entire apartment. King bed, attached bathroom. A view of the city that probably cost more per month than my student loans. There are clothes in the closet, he said from the doorway. They'll fit well enough. Shower, rest. I'll have food sent up. Whose clothes? No one's. I keep guest items stocked. Of course he did. Because this was the kind of life where you just had spare designer wardrobes lying around for unexpected hostages. Protected assets, I corrected myself, bitterly. What's your name? I asked. He paused. Caius. Caius Viscari. Yes. The name fit him. Sharp, unyielding. When do we start? I asked. Start what? Finding who took me. That's the deal, isn't it? Something shifted in his expression. Approval, maybe. Tomorrow, tonight you recover. I don't need to recover. I need answers. Tomorrow, he repeated, and closed the door. I stood there for a long moment, then turned and caught my reflection in the mirror across the room. I looked like hell. Mascara-streaked face, tangled hair, Sarah's borrowed coat still hanging off my shoulders like a costume I couldn't take off. I showered until the water ran cold. The clothes in the closet were soft, expensive. I pulled on black leggings and an oversized sweater, then sat on the edge of the bed and stared at my phone. 17 missed calls from my mom, 12 texts from my dad, 3 from my practicum supervisor, and 1 from Jonah. Hey, want to grab coffee this week? Been thinking about you. My chest ached. Jonah was good, sweet, safe. A pediatric nurse who volunteered at the children's hospital on weekends and talked about his patients like they were his own kids. We'd been circling each other for months, friendly, flirty, never quite crossing the line. Now felt like the worst possible time to think about him. I typed out a careful response to my parents first. Phone died. Sorry, staying at a friend's for a few days. All good. Love you. Then to my supervisor. Family emergency, but I'll be ready for the practicum. We'll check in early next week. I didn't text Jonah back. I didn't know what to say. Dinner arrived on a tray carried by a silent man in a suit. Pasta, bread, water. I ate alone. Afterward, I tried to study. Opened my laptop, pulled up my notes on childhood trauma responses. Dissociation, hypervigilance, learned helplessness. The irony wasn't lost on me. I'd spent 4 hours in a van using every grounding technique I knew, counting breaths, naming objects I could smell, hear, touch, keeping myself present instead of spiraling into panic. It had worked. I'd stayed calm enough to memorize details. The driver had a limp. The other man coughed like a smoker. They'd argued in what sounded like Russian or maybe Ukrainian. The van had smelled like industrial cleaner and stale cigarettes. I pulled out a notebook and started writing it all down. Every detail, every sound, every fragment of conversation I could remember. When I finally looked up, it was past midnight, and Caius was standing in my doorway. I jumped. How long have you been there? Long enough. He stepped inside, eyes on the notebook. What are you doing? Writing down what I remember, from the van. He moved closer. I caught that cedar scent again, undercut with something darker. Leather, maybe, or smoke. May I? I handed him the notebook. He read in silence, jaw tightening with each line. This, he said finally, tapping the page. The argument. You're sure it was Russian? Not positive, but it sounded Slavic. Hard consonants. I took a semester of Russian lit in undergrad. We listened to audio recordings. It reminded me of that. And the limp? Which leg? Left. He dragged it slightly when he walked. Caius's eyes lifted to mine. You noticed that while blindfolded? I counted his steps. The rhythm was uneven. Something flickered across his face. Surprise, respect. You're observant. I'm trained to be. Kids don't always say what's wrong. You have to watch, listen. Notice the things they don't tell you. He handed the notebook back. Tomorrow morning, I want you to walk my head of security through everything, every detail, no matter how small. Okay. And Leora? The sound of my name in his voice did something strange to my pulse. Yes? Thank you, I blinked. For what? For not falling apart. He left before I could respond. Morning came with weak winter light and the smell of coffee. I found my way to the kitchen, massive, industrial, gleaming, and stopped short. Sarah was there. Sarah, in pajama pants and a sweatshirt, hair piled in a messy bun, pouring herself coffee like this was totally normal. Leora, she spun around, eyes wide. Oh my God, Caius told me everything. Are you okay? I'm so sorry. This is so insane. I can't believe they thought. I crossed the space and hugged her. Hard. She hugged back, and for a second I let myself feel the relief, She was safe, whole, exactly as chaotic as always. I'm okay, I said into her shoulder. Are you? I'm fine. Caius had me locked down at Mom's estate like I was in witness protection, which I guess I kind of am. She pulled back, searching my face. But seriously, are you sure you're okay? Yeah, shaken, but okay. Caius said you're staying here for a bit. Just until he figures out who's behind this. Sarah's expression shifted. Something sly crept into her smile. So you're staying in my brother's penthouse, sleeping down the hall from him. Interesting. Sarah, I'm just saying he's single. You're single. You're both hot and intense, and your brother terrifies me. Good, he should. But also, she leaned in conspiratorially. He doesn't let just anyone stay here, like, ever, so clearly you made an impression. I thought about the way he'd looked at my notebook last night. The quiet, thank you. He's trying to keep you safe, I said. That's all. Sarah grinned. Keep telling yourself that. An hour later, I sat across from a man named Dmitri, Caius's head of security, all muscle and scars and cold efficiency. Caius sat beside me, silent but present. I walked Dmitri through everything, the limp, the cough, the Russian argument, the smell of cleaner. Cleaner, Dmitri repeated. What kind? I closed my eyes, pulling the memory forward. Sharp, chemical, like industrial kitchens or medical facilities, not household stuff. Dmitri glanced at Caius. Matches the warehouse district off the East River. Russian crew. Operates a fish processing plant there. Front for smuggling. Nico's people? Caius asked. Could be. Find out. Dmitri nodded and left. I turned to Caius. Who's Nico? His jaw tightened. Someone who wants what I have. Which is? Control. Legitimacy. Access to networks he can't touch on his own. And he thought kidnapping Sarah would give him that? He thought it would make me desperate, reckless. Caius leaned back, studying me. He was wrong. Because it wasn't Sarah. Because I don't negotiate with men who cross lines I've made clear. There was something cold and absolute in his tone. Final. What lines? I asked. He didn't answer right away. Then, I don't involve children. Ever. Schools, clinics, charities, off limits. It's not about morality, it's about code. I thought about my practicum, about the kids I'd be working with in 2 weeks, traumatized, scared, trying to rebuild trust in a world that had hurt them. Why, I asked quietly? Because I've seen what happens when there's no code, when everything's fair game. His eyes were distant, haunted. It's chaos, and chaos kills the ones who can't defend themselves. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. Then my phone buzzed. I glanced at it. Jonah. Still want to grab that coffee? I'm free tomorrow. Caius's gaze flicked to the screen. Who's Jonah? A friend. Just a friend. The question was casual. The look in his eyes wasn't. Why does it matter? It doesn't, but his voice had gone flat. You're free to see whoever you want. While supervised and monitored. For your safety. Right, my safety. I stood. I'm going to reply to him now, alone, in my room. Is that allowed? Something dangerous flashed in his eyes. You're not a prisoner, Leora. Then stop acting like my warden. I walked out before he could respond. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying the van, the voices, the moment the blindfold had come off and I'd seen Caius for the first time. The way he'd looked at me, like I was a problem, a mistake, a variable he hadn't accounted for, but also, and this was the part that scared me, like I mattered. I got up, pulled on a hoodie, and padded into the hallway. The penthouse was dark, quiet. I found Caius in his office, door half open, light spilling into the hall. He sat behind a massive desk, papers spread in front of him, a glass of something amber beside his hand. He looked up when I knocked. Can't sleep? He asked. No, neither can I. I stepped inside. Can I ask you something? Yes. If they'd actually taken Sarah, if it had been her instead of me, what would you have done? His expression went utterly still. Whatever it took, he said quietly, no matter the cost. Even if it broke your code. My code exists to protect people like her. If it failed, the code wouldn't matter anymore. I believed him. God help me, I believed every word. She loves you, I said. You know that, right? She talks about you like you're this overbearing, paranoid older brother, but she adores you. I know. And you'd burn the world down to keep her safe. Yes. The certainty in his voice sent a shiver through me. I should have left. Gone back to bed. Put distance between myself and this man who lived in shadows and spoke about violence like it was a second language. Instead, I sat down across from him. Tell me about Nico, I said. He studied me for a long moment. Then he poured a second glass and slid it across the desk. Nico Rane, he began. Mid-30s, ambitious. Runs a crew that's been trying to move up for years. He wants legitimacy, clean fronts, the kind of power that doesn't come from fear alone. And you have that. I have infrastructure, relationships, networks built over decades. He sipped his drink. He wants to take it, or destroy it trying. Why you specifically? Because I removed someone he considered a mentor, years ago. Removed, I repeated. That's a careful word. It's the accurate one. Did you kill him? Caius's eyes met mine. No, I exiled him. Stripped his assets. Made it clear he'd never operate in this city again. He chose to leave rather than face the alternative. And Nico blames you. Nico wants revenge. But more than that, he wants to prove he's smarter, crueler, willing to cross lines I won't. Like involving Sarah. Like involving anyone I care about. The weight of that settled between us. How do you stop someone like that, I asked. You find his weak point, his mistake, and you exploit it faster than he can adapt. And the kidnapping was his mistake. Yes, because now I know he's desperate, sloppy, and sloppiness gets you caught. I took a sip of the drink. It burned warm down my throat. You sound confident. I am. Why? He leaned forward slightly. Because I have something he doesn't. What? You. My breath caught. You remembered details my own men wouldn't have noticed, he continued. You stayed calm under pressure. You're smart, observant, and trained to read people. His gaze didn't waver. That makes you valuable, dangerously so. I'm not one of your assets, Caius. No, he said quietly. You're not. The air between us felt charged, heavy. I should have looked away, left, put the glass down and walked back to the safety of my room. Instead, I held his gaze. What happens when this is over, I asked. When you find Nico and deal with him, what happens to me? That depends. On what you choose. And if I choose to walk away, go back to my life like none of this happened, then I'll make sure you can. Your family stays safe. Your practicum stays intact. You disappear from this world completely. And if I don't want to disappear, his expression shifted. Something darker, hungrier. Then we have a very different conversation. My pulse hammered in my throat. This was dangerous, all of it. The way he looked at me, the way my body responded. The pull I felt toward a man I should have been running from. I stood. I should go. Leora, I stopped at the door. Yes? Thank you for staying, for helping. I didn't turn around. You're welcome. I made it back to my room and closed the door before I let myself breathe. 3 days later, I was going stir-crazy. Caius had been distant since our late-night conversation, professional. He'd update me on progress. Dimitri had confirmed the warehouse connection. They were tracking Nico's movements. But the charged tension between us had gone cold. Maybe that was better. Maybe I needed the space to remember who I was, what I wanted. A life helping kids. A career built on compassion, not crime. A future that didn't involve armed guards and coded conversations about exile and revenge. So when Jonah texted again, "Please let me see you, I'm worried," I said yes. I told Caius at breakfast. He was reading something on his tablet, coffee untouched beside him. Sarah had already left for a day trip with friends, guarded and tracked, leaving the penthouse quiet. "I'm meeting Jonah this afternoon," I said. His hand stilled on the screen. "Where?" "Coffee shop, near campus. Public, safe, normal." "You'll have security," I figured. "Dimitri will drive you. 2 men will stay close, but out of sight." Fine. He looked up finally. His expression was unreadable. This friend of yours, how well do you know him? Well enough. Does he know where you've been? I told him I was dealing with a family emergency. Keep it that way. I know how to handle this, Caius. Do you? He set the tablet down. Because from where I'm sitting, you're about to bring someone from your old life into proximity with your new one. That's a risk. He's a pediatric nurse, not a security threat. Everyone's a security threat until proven otherwise. I stood, grabbing my bag. I'm going. You can have your people follow me, monitor me, whatever. But I'm not cutting off my entire life because you're paranoid. I'm careful. There's a difference. Feels the same from here. I walked out before he could stop me. The coffee shop was warm and crowded and blessedly normal. Jonah was already there, sitting by the window, and when he saw me, his whole face lit up. He stood, pulling me into a hug that smelled like clean soap and safety. God, Leora, I was so worried. Are you okay? I'm fine, really. We sat, and he studied my face like he was checking for injuries. You look tired. It's been a rough week. What happened? Your text said family emergency, but my roommate's family had some trouble. I've been helping out. Sarah? Is she okay? She's fine, just complicated family stuff. He frowned. You can talk to me, you know, if something's wrong. I know. I appreciate it. The barista brought our drinks. I wrapped my hands around the cup, grateful for something to hold. I missed you, Jonah said quietly. My chest tightened. I missed you too. I know the timing's terrible with everything going on, but I've been thinking, we should do this. Actually, do this. Go on a real date. See where it goes. He was so earnest, so good. And all I could think about was Caius's voice in the dark. Then we have a very different conversation. Jonah, I know you're focused on your practicum. I know you have a lot on your plate. But I think we could be really good together, Leora. I've thought that for a while. I think you're amazing, I said carefully. But right now, with everything happening, then let me help. Whatever you're dealing with, you don't have to do it alone. Behind him, through the window, I spotted one of Caius's men. Dark suit scanning the street, hand near his jacket. This was my life now. Armed guards, shadows, danger lurking in places Jonah couldn't even imagine. I can't, I said. Not right now. His face fell. Is it me? Did I do something wrong? No, God, no. You're perfect, Jonah. But I'm not in a place where I can give you what you deserve. What I deserve is someone who wants to be with me. Do you? The honest answer would have destroyed him. Because the truth was, a week ago, I would have said yes. I would have jumped at the chance to build something with someone like Jonah. But now I couldn't stop thinking about slate gray eyes and a voice like gravel and silk. About a man who lived in darkness but drew lines he refused to cross. About late-night conversations that felt more intimate than anything I'd ever experienced. I can't answer that right now, I whispered. Jonah sat back. There's someone else. It's complicated. Complicated how? Leora, what's really going on? I can't explain. I wish I could, but try me. I looked at him, really looked. At his open face and worried eyes and the goodness radiating from him like light. He couldn't understand this world, and I couldn't drag him into it. I'm sorry, I said. I have to go. I stood. He caught my hand. Wait, please, just tell me you're safe. At least tell me that. I'm safe. Promise? I thought about the armed men outside, about Caius's cold efficiency and Nico's threats and the precarious balance keeping me alive. I promise. It was only half a lie. Dmitri didn't say a word on the drive back, but when we pulled up to the penthouse, Caius was waiting in the lobby. Upstairs, he said. Now. I followed him into the private elevator. The doors closed. How did it go? His voice was too controlled. Fine. Just fine? What do you want me to say, Caius? I want you to tell me if he's a problem. He's not. He's a good person who wants me to be happy. And are you? Happy. I turned to face him. Are you seriously asking me that? I'm trapped in a penthouse because a psychopath wants to use me as leverage. My entire life is on hold. I can't tell my family the truth. I can't explain to my friends where I am. And I'm watching my practicum window close because I'm too busy helping you hunt down a man who wants your sister dead. So no, Caius, I'm not happy. The elevator stopped. The doors opened. He stepped out. My office. 10 minutes. When I walked in, he was standing by the window, hands in his pockets, shoulders rigid. Close the door, he said without turning. I did. You want to know why I asked if Jonah's a problem? He turned finally. Because every person you bring near this situation is a variable I can't control. And variables get people killed. He doesn't know anything. He knows enough to ask questions. Questions that could reach the wrong ears. He's not going to. You don't know that. You don't know what people do when they're worried. When they're scared for someone they care about. So what? I'm supposed to cut everyone off? Pretend my old life doesn't exist? I'm saying you need to be smart. Careful. I am being careful. I lied to him. I pushed him away. I did exactly what you would have done. Then why do you look so miserable about it? The question hit like a punch. I stared at him. Because he's a good man, Caius. Because he deserves better than being lied to. And because I stopped. Because what? Because I hate that I'm becoming someone who lies this easily. His expression softened. Just barely. You think I like what this world does to people? I think you've made peace with it. No. He stepped closer. I've just learned to live with the cost. And what's the cost? Everything. Everyone. Every connection that doesn't fit inside the lines I've drawn. We were too close. I could see the tension in his jaw, the way his hands were still in his pockets, like he didn't trust what they'd do if he let them free. Is that what I am? I asked quietly. Someone who doesn't fit. You know what you are. Tell me anyway. His eyes searched mine. You're the thing I shouldn't want and can't stop thinking about. You're the light I have no business touching. My phone rang. We both froze. I pulled it out. Unknown number. Don't answer, Caius said. I answered. Leora Dane. The voice was male, smooth, amused. I've been curious about you. My blood went cold. Caius's expression turned lethal. He mouthed, Speaker. I tapped the button. Who is this? I asked. You can call me Nico? I believe you've been staying with a friend of mine. We're not friends, Caius said flatly. Caius! Nico's voice brightened. Good. You're both there. This makes things easier. What do you want? Caius's tone could have cut steel. To talk. Civilized. Adult. I think we got off on the wrong foot with the whole kidnapping thing. You grabbed an innocent woman. A mistake. I apologized, didn't I? Had her delivered right to your door. No harm, no foul. You threatened my sister. I never touched her, but I have been thinking about Leora, about her work. Child psychology, right? Helping traumatized kids. Noble, beautiful even. My stomach turned. Get to the point, Caius said. The point is, there's a children's charity gala next week. Sarah's attending. I know because it's all over her. Social media, God bless young people and their inability to stay off Instagram. Anyway, it made me think, what if something happened there? Not to Sarah, necessarily, but to the kids, the donors. What if someone caused a panic? A stampede? How many children would get hurt in the chaos? Caius's hand was on my shoulder now, grounding, protective. You touch that event, and I will end you, Caius said quietly. See, that's the thing. I won't touch it. My people will. And by the time anyone figures out it was me, the damage will be done. Unless what? Unless we make a deal. You give me access to your East River routes, your clean shipping network, and I leave your sister, your little psychologist, and all those precious children alone. No. Caius, no. And if you go anywhere near that gala, I will dismantle your entire operation piece by piece. I will ruin you, bankrupt you, make it so you can't operate in any city, any country. You will spend the rest of your life looking over your shoulder. Silence. Then Nico laughed. I do love your conviction. Let's see if it holds when bodies start dropping. You have 48 hours to reconsider. Otherwise, I'll see you at the gala. The line went dead. I stared at the phone. Caius was already moving, dialing someone. Dimitri. The charity gala. I need full security details. Guest list, floor plans, staff background checks. Everything. Now. He hung up and turned to me. We're moving the timeline, he said. We end this before that gala happens. How? By giving him what he wants. My eyes widened. You're going to… No, I'm going to make him think I will. And when he comes to collect, we'll be ready. That's a trap. Yes. Using what as bait? His jaw tightened. Me, my reputation. The illusion that he's finally broken me. And if it doesn't work, then we have 48 hours to come up with something better. I thought about the gala, about Sarah's bright smile and the kids who'd be there, dressed up and excited, completely unaware of the danger circling them. I can help, I said. Leora? I know how predators like him think, how they escalate, what they use to manipulate. I stepped closer. You need me on this, Caius. You know you do. He looked at me like he was trying to memorize my face. If I let you do this, he said quietly, if I bring you deeper into this, there's no going back. You understand that? I understand. You could walk away right now. I'd make sure you were safe, that Jonah and your family and your practicum were all protected. You could have your life back. I don't want my life back. The words hung between us. What do you want? He asked. I thought about it, really thought, about Sarah's laugh and the kids at that gala, and the way Caius had looked when he talked about his code, about lines drawn in darkness and the people who tried to hold them. I want to stop him, I said. I want those kids safe, and I stopped. What? Caius prompted. I want to stop pretending I don't feel this. His breath caught. Feel what? I closed the distance between us. My heart was hammering, my hands shaking, but I didn't look away. You, I whispered. I want to stop pretending I don't feel you. For one endless moment, he didn't move. Then his hand came up to cut my face, thumb brushing my cheekbone. You should run from me, he said roughly. You should be anywhere but here. I know. I'm not good for you, Leora. I'll ruin you. Maybe I want to be ruined. His control snapped. He kissed me like he'd been starving for it, hard, hungry, desperate. His other hand tangled in my hair, tilting my head back, and I opened for him without thinking. It was nothing like I'd imagined. It was better, darker, more consuming. I fisted my hands in his shirt, pulling him closer, and he made a sound low in his throat that sent heat pooling through my entire body. We broke apart only when breathing became necessary. His forehead pressed against mine. This is a terrible idea. I know. We have 48 hours to stop a psychopath from hurting children. I know. And all I can think about is kissing you again. So do it, he did. This time slower, deeper, like he was trying to memorize the taste of me. When we finally pulled apart, his eyes were storm dark and his breathing uneven. We work the plan first, he said. We stop Nico, keep Sarah and those kids safe, and then, his thumb traced my bottom lip, and then I'm going to take my time with you. My knees went weak. Okay, I breathed, but right now I need your mind, your insight, everything you know about how men like him think. I nodded, trying to pull myself together. Then let's go to work. We had 36 hours. Caius's office had transformed into a war room. Maps spread across the desk, security footage frozen on screens, guest lists highlighted in red and yellow. Dimitri stood by the window. Sarah had been sent back to Connecticut under protest, and I sat across from Caius, notebook open, thinking like a predator. He wants humiliation, I said. Public proof that he won. That's why he chose the gala. Maximum visibility, maximum chaos, and it breaks your code in the most spectacular way possible. Caius's eyes were on me, sharp, focused. What else? I flipped through my notes, behavioral patterns I'd been tracking since Nico's first call. He escalates in threes. The kidnapping was test 1. The phone call was test 2. The gala is test 3, but it won't be random chaos. Explain. He'll target the moment of maximum emotional impact. Not the beginning when security's tightest. Not the end when people are leaving. I tapped a specific line in the gala schedule. Here, the children's choir performance. 30 kids on stage, all the donors watching. Sarah presenting the foundation award. He'll create panic during this. A fire alarm, a structural threat. Something that causes a stampede. Kids get trampled. Sarah gets caught in the chaos. You look like you failed to protect both. Dimitri's expression darkened. That's exactly what a narcissistic predator would do, I finished. Maximum symbolic value. He doesn't even need anyone to die, though he wouldn't care if they did. He just needs the footage of children screaming and you unable to stop it. Kaya stood, pacing to the window. So we cancel the gala? No, I said. We use it, but we move up the timeline. How? We make him think he's won before the gala even happens. You publicly appear to break, to negotiate. And Nico can't resist claiming victory early. Where? Dimitri asked. Somewhere neutral, public enough that he feels safe, private enough for real conversation. I pulled up a location on my laptop. The Opal Room at the Greystone Hotel. High-end, discreet, lots of witnesses, but contained. Tomorrow night. And the bait? Dimitri asked. Caius's jaw tightened. Me, looking desperate, willing to deal. Not just you, I said quietly. Me too. I need to be visible. He's fixated on me now. The psychologist, the mistake that turned into leverage. If I'm there, if he sees you with me, he'll believe the desperation is real. Absolutely not. Caius, you're not putting yourself in his line of sight. I stood, planting my hands on the desk. I'm already in his line of sight. He called my phone. He knows my name, my field, probably my entire history by now. Hiding me doesn't make me safer. It makes me useless. You're not useless. Then let me do this. Let me be the reason he gets sloppy. We stared at each other across the desk. Dimitri cleared his throat. She's right. If Nico thinks he's rattled you enough to bring her out in public, he'll overcommit. Get cocky. Caius's hands were fists on the desk. If anything happens to you, it won't, because you'll have Dimitri and a dozen other people watching every angle. I softened my voice. Trust me. Trust my read on him. Finally, slowly, he nodded. We do this tomorrow night, he said. Dimitri, arrange the room. Make sure Nico's people know I'm willing to talk. But don't make it too easy. He needs to think he's forcing my hand. Done. And Leora? Caius looked at me. You stay within my sight the entire time. No exceptions. Deal. Morning came with complications. I was reviewing the gala security protocols when my phone rang. Unknown number, but local. I answered. Hello? Leora, it's Dr. Patricia Hollis, from the Practicum Committee. My stomach dropped. Dr. Hollis was my supervisor, the woman who'd decide if I got my placement. Dr. Hollis, hi, I'm so sorry I haven't checked in. There's been a family. I'm calling because I received some concerning information. Her voice was careful, professional. A colleague reached out to me yesterday. He said you might be in a dangerous situation, that you've been, and I'm quoting here, involved with organized crime figures. The room tilted. What? Who told you that? I can't disclose that. But Leora, this is serious. If there's any truth to these allegations, it could affect your placement. We work with vulnerable children. We can't have students who are entangled in criminal activity. I'm not entangled in anything. I've been helping a friend's family through a crisis. That's all. The person who contacted me seemed very concerned about you. Said you've been distant, lying about your whereabouts, possibly being coerced. Jonah. Oh God, Jonah. He'd been worried, confused. And he'd gone to someone he trusted, probably his mentor, who knew Dr. Hollis, who... The ripple effect crashed over me. Dr. Hollis, I promise you, I'm safe. I'm fine. And I will be ready for my practicum. This is just, it's complicated, but it has nothing to do with my work or my capabilities. Silence. Then, I want to believe you, Leora. Your academic record is stellar, but I need you to come in, meet with me and the committee, clear this up formally. When? Monday, 9 a.m. If you can't make it or if you're unwilling to meet, I'll have to recommend suspension of your placement pending investigation. 3 days. The gala was in 2 days. I'll be there, I said. Good. And Leora? If you are in danger, we can help. There are resources, people who... I'm not in danger. Thank you, Dr. Hollis. I hung up. Caius was in the doorway. What happened? Jonah told someone I'm involved with dangerous people. It got back to my practicum supervisor. I have to meet with the committee Monday or lose my placement. His expression went cold. I'll handle it. No, you can't handle this with money or threats or... I was going to say I'll have my attorney prepare a statement. A legal explanation for your absence that protects your privacy and satisfies their concerns. I took a breath. Sorry, You're scared. I understand, he crossed to me. But Leora, this is exactly what Nico wanted. To destabilize your life. Make you choose between your future and this. I know. We end him tomorrow night. And then I fix this. I promise. I wanted to believe him. But the fear sat heavy in my chest. That afternoon, Dimitri came to me with a tablet. Boss wants you to look at this. It was intercepted communication from Nico's crew. Fragmented, coded, but clear enough. Choir slot, 7:15. Smoke devices, east stairwell. Viscari girl, front row. My hands went cold. He's going through with it, I said. Even if Caius agrees to deal, he's hitting the gala anyway. That's what the boss thought. He wanted your analysis. I read through the messages again, pulled up the gala timeline, cross-referenced with what I knew about panic psychology and crowd dynamics. It's worse than I thought, I said slowly. He's not just creating chaos, he's trapping them. What do you mean? Smoke devices in the east stairwell. That's one of only 2 main exits from the performance hall. If he triggers them during the choir performance, everyone will rush to the west exit. But if the west exit is also compromised, blocked or locked or another threat. Crush and trample, Dimitri finished grimly. Exactly. Children, elderly donors. Everyone packed into a space with nowhere to go. I looked up. We need to change the gala layout. Add exits. Spread the crowd. Make sure the choir platform has emergency egress. The gala's in 2 days. Venue won't change the whole setup. Then we make them. Caius has influence, doesn't he? Dimitri almost smiled. He does. Then use it. Fire code concerns. Anonymous safety tip. Whatever works. But those kids need more ways out. I'll tell him. He left. I sat there, staring at the messages, my psychology training and my fury weaving together into something sharp and useful. Nico thought he was 10 steps ahead. He had no idea we were 20. The next evening, I stood in front of the mirror in a dress I'd never have bought myself. Black, sleek, expensive. The kind of thing that said I belonged to his world now. Sarah had sent it from Connecticut with a note. If you're going to walk into danger looking like a mafia queen, you better look like a mafia queen. He won't be able to take his eyes off you. Kick Nico's ass for me. Say. She'd also sent 17 texts. Are you sure I can't come back for this? Caius is being so overprotective. Tell him I'm not a porcelain doll. Also tell him if you two don't kiss after this, I'm disowning both of you. I'm serious, Leora. The tension is unbearable. I smiled despite everything. When I walked into the living room, Caius went completely still. His eyes tracked over me, slow, hungry, possessive. You look, he stopped, swallowed. We should go, but he didn't move. I crossed to him, straightened his already perfect tie. Ready? His hand came up to catch mine. If this goes wrong, it won't. If it does, you run. You don't wait for me, you don't look back. Dimitri will get you out. Caius, promise me. I looked up at him, at the fear he was trying so hard to hide behind control. I promise, I lied. Because if it went wrong, I wasn't running anywhere. The opal room was intimate, dimly lit, velvet booths and crystal glasses, and the kind of quiet money that didn't need to announce itself. Caius and I sat at a corner table. His hand rested on my knee under the table. Grounding, possessive, real. To anyone watching, we looked like a couple, dangerous and devoted. It wasn't entirely an act anymore. Dimitri was at the bar. 2 more men positioned near exits. Cameras Caius's tech team had accessed were feeding live to a van outside. And then Nico walked in. He was younger than I'd expected. Mid-30s, handsome in a sharp-edged way, wearing a suit that probably cost more than my entire education. He smiled when he saw us. Caius, and the lovely Leora. He slid into the booth across from us. I'm so glad you reconsidered. I didn't reconsider, Caius said flatly. I'm here to tell you what happens if you touch that gala. Nico laughed, still posturing. I admire the commitment, truly, but we both know why you're really here. His eyes slid to me. Because you can't afford to lose her, or your sister, or all those precious children you're so protective of. What do you want? Caius asked. I told you. East River routes, clean shipping access, full partnership, not scraps. And if I give you that, you leave the gala alone. And your girls, and the kids. Everyone stays safe and happy. Nico leaned back. See? Simple. I felt Caius's hand tighten on my knee. Saw the muscle tick in his jaw. He was playing the part perfectly. The man backed into a corner. I need guarantees, Caius said. You have my word. Your word means nothing. Nico's smile didn't falter. Then what would satisfy you? A contract. Witnessed. Legal leverage if you violate terms. You want to formalize a criminal agreement? Nico looked delighted. You really are desperate. And there it was. The overconfidence I'd predicted. The moment he thought he'd won. I watched him. The way he leaned back. The way his hand drummed twice on the table. Quick, excited, self-congratulatory. The same pattern I'd seen in my notes. The same tell he'd shown when his men had argued in the van. He was lying. I squeezed Caius's hand under the table. Once. Our signal. Caius's expression didn't change, but I felt him shift. Readying. Before we talk contracts, I said, I'm curious about something. Nico's attention swung to me. The psychologist speaks. Please, I've been curious about you too. You've been planning this for a while, haven't you? The gala, I mean. It's not just leverage, it's personal. Everything's personal in this business, sweetheart. Don't call her that, Caius said quietly. Nico's smile sharpened. Protective. I like it. Shows I was right about her being your weakness. You study people for weaknesses, I continued. That's how you operate. Find the pressure point, exploit it, escalate until they break. It's a pattern, textbook narcissistic predator behavior. His eyes narrowed slightly. You've been analyzing me. How flattering. I have. And I noticed something interesting about your escalation pattern. You always move in threes. Test, exploit. The kidnapping was test 1. See if Caius would negotiate. The phone call was test 2. See if threatening children would break his code. The gala is test 3. The actual exploitation. Fascinating theory. Except it's not a theory. Because you're not actually interested in a deal tonight. You're going to hit the gala anyway. Probably during Caius's supposed cooperation, so he looks complicit. Maximum humiliation. Maximum chaos. The smile froze. That's a serious accusation, Nico said lightly. It's the truth. You drum your fingers twice when you lie. You did it in the van when your men asked if the grab was approved. You did it 30 seconds ago when you promised to leave the gala alone. It's a self-soothing tell, subconscious, which means you probably don't even know you do it. His hand stilled on the table. The air in the booth went cold. Clever girl, Nico said softly. Does Caius know you're this observant, or does he just like the way you look in that dress? He knows, Caius said quietly, and he's been 10 steps ahead of you since the moment you made your first mistake, which was grabbing her in the first place. Caius's voice was ice, because that gave me time, resources, and the best psychological profiler you'll never hire working through every move you'd make. You think you've outplayed me? I know I have. Caius pulled out his phone, tapped once. Your warehouse on the East River? Raided an hour ago. Financial records linking you to trafficking and racketeering. Already with federal prosecutors. The mole you planted in my organization. He's been feeding you exactly what I wanted you to hear for 3 weeks. Nico's face went white. And the gala, I added. We know about the smoke devices, the east stairwell, the plan to cause a stampede during the children's choir performance. You're bluffing. Am I? Let me guess. You were going to block the west exit too. Create a crush. Let children get trampled while Sarah watched from the front row, helpless. Film it, leak it. Destroy Caius's reputation as the man who protects innocence. Nico's jaw clenched. But we've already redesigned the venue layout, Caius said. Added emergency exits. Stationed undercover security throughout. Your devices will be found before they're ever triggered. And your men? The ones you sent to plant them. They're being arrested right now. I watched the color drain from Nico's face. Watched the exact moment he realized he'd lost. You wanted my roots, Caius continued. You wanted legitimacy. You wanted to prove you were smarter, but you made one critical error. What? You assumed caring about people made me weak. Caius stood, pulling me up with him. It doesn't. It makes me more dangerous. Because now I have reasons to be thorough. Dimitri appeared at Nico's shoulder, 2 federal agents behind him. Nico Rane, one of them said. We have a warrant for your arrest. Nico shot to his feet. You can't. This is trafficking, racketeering, conspiracy to endanger minors. The agent pulled out cuffs. You have the right to remain silent. His eyes found mine, wild, furious. You did this, you little? No, I said calmly. You did this when you decided children were acceptable collateral. I just helped him finish it. They led him away in cuffs. Outside, the winter air bit cold and clean. Caius's car was waiting. Dimitri held the door. The gala, I asked. Still on for tomorrow night, Dimitri said. But with Nico in custody and his crew scattered, it'll be the safest event of the season. Extra security stays in place anyway. And Sarah? Already got the all clear to come back to the city. She's demanding details and threatening to unleash hell if we don't tell her everything. He almost smiled. She's also taking full credit for introducing you two. I laughed, actually laughed. Of course she is. Your meeting Monday, Caius asked quietly. Still happening, but I'll handle it. You won't handle it alone. He nodded to Dimitri. We're providing a full statement. Legal documentation of the threat against Leora and her temporary protective custody. Dr. Hollis will have everything she needs to clear you. Caius. I also made a donation to the Children's Psychology Program. Fully endowed scholarship in your name. Not to buy influence. They'll never know it came from me. But to make sure the program has resources to support students who face extraordinary circumstances. My throat tightened. You didn't have to. Yes, I did. Because your career matters. Your purpose matters. And I won't let my world destroy that. Dimitri cleared his throat. I'll give you 2 a minute. He walked away. Caius turned to me. There's something else. Something I need to tell you before we go any further. My pulse quickened. What? 3 days ago, I was offered a partnership. Major expansion into European markets. Shipping, logistics, legitimacy on a scale that would have doubled my reach and profit. That's huge. It was. Except the primary investor wanted access to educational charities as fronts. Private schools, scholarship programs, youth outreach. All the things that would have violated my code. What did you say? I said no. Walked away from the entire deal. Burned the bridge completely. I stared at him. Caius, how much did you lose? Doesn't matter. It does matter, that kind of expansion. Would have meant using the exact systems Nico wanted to exploit. Would have put me in the same category as men I've spent years opposing. His hand cupped my face. And it would have made me someone you couldn't respect, couldn't trust, couldn't choose. You gave it up for your code. For my code, for those kids, and for you. Tears pricked my eyes. I don't know what to say. Say you'll come home with me, not to the guest room, not as protection, as mine. I'm not a possession, Caius. No, you're a partner, an equal, the smartest person I've ever met, and the only one who's ever made me want something beyond survival. His forehead pressed to mine. Come home with me anyway. Okay. The penthouse was dark when we arrived. Caius locked the door behind us, turned to me. For a moment, we just stood there, looking at each other. All the adrenaline, all the fear, all the weeks of tension crackling between us like electricity. I should warn you, I said. I've never done this before. This? Chosen someone like you. Let myself want something this complicated. He stepped closer. I've never done this either. What? Let someone matter more than the plan, more than control. His hand cupped my face. You terrify me, Leora. Good. You terrify me too. And you're still here. I'm still here. He kissed me again, slower this time, deeper. The kiss wasn't about control or strategy or survival. It was about us, about everything we'd somehow become in the middle of all this chaos. His hands framed my face, then slid down to my waist, drawing me closer until there was no space left between us. I felt like I was standing on the edge of a cliff, and he was the only thing keeping me from falling, and somehow that made me want to jump. Bedroom, he murmured against my mouth. Yes. He lifted me, and I wrapped my legs around his waist, a breathless laugh escaping me as he carried me through the darkened penthouse. City lights spilled in through the windows, turning everything silver and shadow. His room was all clean lines and dark sheets and glass, so completely him that my chest ached. He set me down beside the bed, but didn't step back. Tell me to stop, he said, voice rough. If you want me to stop, tell me. Every instinct I'd cultivated my whole life, play it safe, choose the light, avoid the edge, rose up for one last protest. And then I thought about blindfolds and vans and phone calls from monsters who use children as leverage, about codes and choices and the way Caius had walked away from an empire expansion rather than break the lines he'd drawn, about how I felt in his arms, terrified and seen and utterly, undeniably alive. I don't want you to stop, I whispered. Not this time. Something in his eyes broke open. He leaned in, kissing me again, slower now, like he had all the time in the world. His fingers found the zipper of my dress, moving with a care that made my throat tighten. The fabric slipped from my shoulders and pulled at my feet. And the way he looked at me, reverent, hungry, disbelieving, made heat curl low in my stomach. You're so beautiful it hurts to look at you, he said. I reached for his shirt, fumbling with the buttons, needing him closer. Then don't just look, I managed. Stay. He did. Every touch was a question. Every answered breath was consent. We moved together toward the bed, toward the choice we were both making with open eyes. The outside world blurred into nothing. No Nico, no gala, no practicum committee. Just his warmth, his weight, the steady murmur of my name against my skin as he learned me with his hands and his mouth. I let myself stop thinking in clinical terms and trauma frameworks and contingency plans. Let myself just feel wanted, chosen, claimed, and claiming in return. At some point, the last barriers between us disappeared, and what happened next was less an act and more a surrender. To him, to us, to the terrifying, exhilarating possibility of a future that didn't fit any of the boxes I'd planned for myself. When it was over and the city was just a soft glow beyond the glass, we lay tangled together in the dark, our breathing slowly sinking, his hand drawing lazy circles on my skin like he was memorizing me one touch at a time. I love you, he said quietly. The words hung in the air between us. I'd never said them to anyone before, never felt them this deeply, but I felt them now. I love you too, I whispered. His arms tightened around me. The gala had gone off without incident. Children sang beautifully. Donors wrote generous checks. Sarah gave a speech about childhood literacy that had half the room in tears. And Caius and I had watched from the back, his hand in mine, both of us breathing easier. Now I stood outside Dr. Hollis's office, Caius beside me in an impeccably tailored suit, looking every inch the legitimate businessman. His attorney had provided documentation, legal statements, everything carefully worded to protect privacy while satisfying concerns. The meeting had been tense, professional, but ultimately successful. Your circumstances were extraordinary, Dr. Hollis had said, and your handling of them demonstrates exactly the kind of resilience and judgment we want in our clinicians. Your placement is confirmed, Leora. Welcome to the program. Relief had nearly buckled my knees. Now, walking out into winter sunshine, I felt lighter than I had in weeks. Congratulations, Caius said. Thank you for everything. The attorney, the documentation, the The scholarship? I stopped. You said they'd never know it came from you. They won't, but you should know, because it's not charity. It's investment in the future you're building. The future we're building, I corrected. He smiled. Actually smiled. Yes. We walked to his car. Dimitri at the wheel, already pulling up. I have something to propose, Caius said as we slid into the back seat. Proposition me, Viscari. His eyes heated. Later, first, business. I laughed. Okay, business. I want to create a formal consulting position. Child safety and family protection protocols across my entire operation. Schools, charities, any business that intersects with vulnerable populations. I want you to design the framework, audit the systems, make sure we never become what Nico wanted us to be. I stared at him. That's huge. It's necessary, and you're the only person I trust to do it right. He took my hand. Part-time, flexible around your practicum and eventually your practice, compensated appropriately, but most importantly, purposeful. You'd be protecting people who'd never even know they were at risk. I thought about it, about the kids at the gala, about Sarah, about all the invisible children in the systems Caius controlled. I want creative control, I said. Final say on protocols. No compromises on child safety, ever. Done. And transparency. I see the books, the operations, everything relevant to my audits. Done. And if I ever think you're crossing a line, my line, I walk. No questions, no consequences. Agreed. He pulled me closer. Anything else? Yes. Sarah gets involved. She's been dying to do something meaningful with the family resources. Let her help, coordinate the charitable partnerships. She'll be impossible to manage. She'll be brilliant, he sighed. Fine, but you're supervising her. Deal. We shook on it. Formal, professional. Then he kissed me, decidedly unprofessional. I love you, he murmured against my mouth. I love you too. Dimitri cleared his throat from the front seat. Where to, boss? Home, Caius said. We have work to do. I settled against him, watching the city slide past the windows. A month ago, I'd been a grad student with a simple plan. Help kids, build a career, live a safe, predictable life. Now I was a consultant to a crime organization, in love with a man who lived in shadows, using my training in ways I'd never imagined. I'd been kidnapped, threatened, kissed by danger, and I'd never been more certain of my path. Because I wasn't invisible anymore. I wasn't wasted potential. I wasn't just a protected asset in someone else's war. I was seen, chosen, powerful. I was Leora Dane, psychologist, strategist, partner to a man who'd burn the world to keep me safe. And I was exactly where I was supposed to be. Thank you for listening all the way to the end. If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe so you don't miss the next Mafia love story. And tell me in the comments where you're listening from and what you thought of this narrator. Your feedback really helps me make these even better for you. Thank you for letting my stories keep you company. It truly means more than you know.